You're standing at your kitchen window on a cold morning, coffee in your hand, and you can feel it before you even touch the glass. That cool draft sliding down off the pane and pulling around your feet cold as a cellar. You felt it every winter you've lived in this house. And what you're feeling right there is money leaving the building. Here's a number that ought to change how you look at every window you've got. The Department of Energy says your windows are responsible for somewhere between a quarter and a third of everything you spend heating and cooling this place. Not the walls, the glass. So a window isn't the thing you pick because it looks nice in the brochure. It's a bill. You set it the day it goes in the wall, and you pay it every single month for the next 30 years, whether you notice it or not. Think about what that draft really is for a second. It isn't the cold coming in, not exactly. It's the warm air you already paid good money to make sliding down the cold glass and running out along the floor, and your furnace kicking on again to replace it. Over and over, all winter, every winter. You bought that heat once. That window makes you buy it twice. Today we're going to walk the 5 windows to avoid at all costs, worst to best, and the one sitting at number 1 is the one that leaks the most money of all while looking like the smart, thrifty choice. We start with the worst of them in just a minute. And I'm not telling you glass is the enemy or that you've got to live in a cave with 2 little portholes and call it a day. A good window is one of the best paying things you will ever put in a house. I'm telling you which ones quietly work against you, so the money you spend actually comes back to you instead of blowing out through the frame while you sleep. Let me give you the one idea to carry through this whole video, because once you've got it, you'll never look at a window the same way again. A window has 2 jobs, just 2. That's the whole thing. Job 1 is keeping the weather out. Every draft you can feel, every cold spot, every foggy corner in January, that's the window failing job 1. And it charges you for the failure every month the heat's on or the air's running. 30 years of monthly charges. That's the number that matters, not the sticker price you saw at the store. Job 2 is opening, closing, and cleaning without a fight. And that's the job nobody talks about in the showroom because it doesn't cost you a dime the day you buy it. It costs you later. It gets steeper every year. Your grip loosens a little and your reach gets a little shorter. A window you can't work is a window you've quietly made a truce with. You don't open it and it doesn't fall on your arm, and you tell yourself you never really wanted it open anyway. And here's the part that ties it together. Both of those jobs are a second bill. One you never see written down anywhere. The energy job is a bill you pay the utility company every month. The operating job is a bill you pay in help, in ladders, in the guy you have to phone, in the windows you simply stop using. Neither one shows up on the price tag. Both show up in your life for 30 years. That's why the sticker price is the least honest number in the room. Every window on this list fails. One of those jobs or both. So the only 2 questions you ever have to ask about any window are these. What does this cost me every winter? And will I still be able to work it and clean it myself in 15 years? Hold on to those 2. They'll carry you the whole way through this list and honestly, through every window you look at for the rest of your life. Now, none of what I'm about to tell you is my opinion. And I want you to know that going in, because opinions are cheap, and you've got enough people selling you theirs. I'm just pointing you at the folks who measure this for a living. The Department of Energy is the one telling you windows are a quarter to a third of your heating and cooling. They're also the ones with the R values. And the R value is nothing fancy, it's just how well a thing holds heat in. A single pane of glass sits down around R1. That's almost nothing. The insulated wall it's sitting in is R13 or better. So that pane is the weakest spot in the whole outside of your house. And standard glass lets roughly 70 to 75% of the sun's heat come straight through it on a July afternoon. Energy Star has the real dollar savings, and I'll always give you those as ranges tied to your climate, never as some guaranteed number, because your winter up in Minnesota is not the same animal as your winter down in Georgia. And the folks who retrofit homes for people who mean to stay put, the aging in place trades, they're the ones with the numbers on how much easier a crank is to turn than the old lift and twist. They already know all of this. They just don't lead with it in the showroom, because the showroom is there to sell you the view and the price tag, and neither one of those is the same as the truth. So we're going to ask the questions the showroom skipped. Number 5, the bargain Builder-Grade Single-Pane, or its close cousin, the one where somebody tells you, don't you worry about it, we'll just add a storm window later. This is the cheap upfront pick, and I understand the pull of it completely. I do. The number on the tag is small and friendly, but that single pane is about R1. It barely insulates at all. And remember, the glass is already 1/4 to 1/3 of your heating and cooling before you've done a thing. So, this is the window that's failing job 1 from the day it goes in the wall. Here's the arithmetic the tag doesn't show you. Replacing single pane glass with a proper unit saves on the order of $101 to nearly $583 a year, depending on where you live, and up to around 13% off your heating and cooling bill. That's Energy Star's range, not a number I made up to scare you. So the cheap window isn't actually cheap. It's a payment plan you didn't know you signed. It bills you every winter for as long as it's in the wall, and it never once stops to thank you. And I want to be straight with you about the payback because some folks oversell this, and I won't. Getting the glass right is one of the better paying upgrades in the whole house. But that doesn't mean every window pays itself back in 3 years and buys you a steak dinner. Some of these swaps save you modestly and take their time doing it. The honest way to think about it is this: for as long as you live here, a window either quietly costs you money every month or it quietly stops. You get to pick which, and single pane picks the wrong side of it for you. Now the honest part, because this list would be worthless without it, and you'd be right not to trust me. There's one place single pane genuinely belongs, and that's a historic home where the original wood windows are part of what makes the place what it is. You rip those out and you've hurt the house, and no bill savings makes that back. In that case, you keep them, and you add a good storm window on top, and you seal it right. That's not the mistake. The mistake is putting bargain single pane in an ordinary house you're going to heat for the next 30 years, just because the tag looked friendly on the day. Before we go on, I want you to have the thing I built for exactly this, because it'll save you a lot more than this whole video will. It's called the Complete Cheap Living Field Edition. 3 guides. The catch is hidden in cheap houses, the catch is hidden in cheap land, and the state-by-state notebook on what each place really cost you, plus the worksheets you print out and carry right to the county office and the builder meeting. This is the same stuff I check before I trust any deal. Put straight into your hands so you walk in knowing more than the person selling to you. It's the first link down in the description, or you scan the QR code up on your screen right now, and it's yours in about a minute. Go grab it. I'll wait right here for you. All right, back to the windows. Number 4. The double hung put everywhere out of pure habit, including over the kitchen sink and up high on a wall where you'd need a ladder just to reach the latch. You know this window. It's the one you shove up against gravity, the top and the bottom sliding past each other in the frame. It's the default. It goes in most houses because it's what has always gone in most houses, and nobody stops to ask whether it belongs where they're putting it. And for job 1, keeping the weather out, a decent double hung can be perfectly fine. It's job 2 where it turns on you. A double hung you have to live is the single hardest common window to work when your grip isn't what it used to be, or when you're leaning over a countertop to get at it. The aging in place trades are blunt about this. A crank window, a casement, takes up to about 75% less force to open. A lever handle needs roughly 50% less grip than the old twist and lift styles. Put a heavy double hung over your sink or up in a high wall, and here's what actually happens over time. You don't fix it. You just stop opening it. It quietly becomes a pane of glass you've made your peace with. And I'll bet you already know the exact window I'm describing. Because most houses have one. It's the one over the kitchen sink. You reach across the wet counter and the faucet, you get a hand under the sash, and you push, and it sticks, and you push harder, and eventually you just leave it. That window over the sink is the one you most want open on the hot day you're doing dishes, and it's the one that's hardest to reach and heaviest to lift. Whoever put a plain lift-up double hung there wasn't thinking about the person standing at that sink in 20 years. That's the whole problem in one window. And the honest exception here matters because I'm not telling you double hungs are junk. They're not. A good double hung with tilt-in sashes, set at a comfortable height where you're not lifting over anything, is easy to work and easy to clean. You tilt it right in and wipe both sides standing at your own counter. No ladder, no fight. That's a fine window. The mistake is defaulting to it everywhere out of habit, especially in the exact spots where you'll have to reach or lift to use it. Real quick, while we're right here in the meat of this, if this is the honest arithmetic you wish somebody had handed you before you signed for a house full of the wrong windows, hit subscribe. It's all real numbers here, no hype, and it helps this reach the next person about to buy a window they'll be fighting with for 30 years. Number 3. The big west-facing wall of glass with no solar control. The one where somebody skipped the low-E coating to save a little money up front. And nobody wrote it down. This is the view upgrade. And I love a big view every bit as much as you do. So I'm not going to talk you out of wanting one. But west-facing glass with nothing to manage the sun is a bill you pay every single July. Standard glass lets roughly 70 to 75% of the sun's heat come straight through it. So on a summer afternoon, that beautiful wall of glass turns into a heat lamp pointed right at your living room, and your air conditioner runs itself ragged all evening trying to keep up with it. That's job one failing in the other direction, in the cooling season instead of the heating one. And it isn't just the bill either. That same unmanaged sun fades your floors, your rug, the back of your good couch, a little more every afternoon. A low-E coating, the right one for your climate, can cut that fading by up to about 75%, on top of taking a real load off your cooling. Skipping that coating to save a bit up front is one of those decisions that feels smart standing in the showroom and then cost you quietly for years after you've forgotten you made it. And you don't need to become an engineer to get this right. When you're ordering, there are just 2 little numbers on the sticker that matter, and you can ask for them by name. One tells you how well the window holds your heat in for winter. The other tells you how much of the summer sun it lets through. You want a window matched to your climate on both, and the salesman who can answer that question plainly is the one you want to buy from. The one who can't, or who waves it off, just told you everything you need to know about him. Here's the honest version, and it's an important one. Big glass is not the villain. Big glass with the correct low-E coating for your climate zone is one of the finest things you can do to a house. You get the whole view, and you get the comfort with it. And your floors don't wash out. The mistake is buying all that glass and then skipping the one cheap thing that makes it behave itself. Number 2. The cheap vinyl frame with a builder-grade sealed unit and a short seal life. The good enough box. This one's sneaky, because on day one it looks exactly right. It's a double pane, so you feel like you did the smart thing. There's a sealed space between the 2 panes, usually filled with argon gas, and that gas is doing real insulating work in there. Quiet and invisible. The trouble is the seal that holds it all in. On a cheap unit, that seal fails a lot sooner than you'd ever expect it to. And when it goes, here's what you get. The argon leaks out. Moisture creeps into the gap between the panes and fogs up in there, and you cannot wipe it off no matter how you try, because it's on the inside, sealed between two sheets of glass you can't get to. The insulation value drops right off. And now you're looking at roughly $300 to $550 to replace the sealed glass unit, or the whole window if the frame's gone with it. So the bargain box fogs over in a few years and hands you a repair bill that eats the savings whole, and then some. And there's an easy way to tell the two apart before you buy, so you're not guessing. It's the glass warranty. Ask how many years the manufacturer covers the sealed unit against exactly this, against fogging. A serious window stands behind that glass for a long stretch, because the maker knows it'll hold. The bargain box comes with a short warranty, and that short warranty is the maker telling you in the fine print how long they actually expect it to last. Read the warranty, and it'll confess for them. The honest exception, and it's a real one, so hear it. A quality sealed unit, the kind with what they call a warm edge spacer, and a genuine long glass warranty behind it, is one of the best values in this entire video, and I'd put one in my own house without a second thought. The only thing to steer clear of is the bargain unit with the thin warranty that clouds over before the house is even broken in. All right. Straight talk now, because you've seen enough of this list to know I mean what I say to you. If you're actually going to build or buy, you need the complete Cheap Living Field Edition before you sign a single thing. Not someday. Now, while you can still change the order and it costs you nothing to change it, 3 guides. 40 catches hidden in cheap houses so you can tell an honest deal from a padded one across the table. 50 catches hidden in cheap land listings, so a bad lot doesn't sink the whole project before you've even poured a footing. And the state-by-state cheap living notebook, because where you build or buy decides close to 1/3 of what the whole thing costs you, taxes and all. Plus every worksheet you'll carry to the county office and the walkthrough. Bought separately, it'd run you about $45. The whole collection is $29.99, and the worksheets are free inside it. That is the cheapest insurance you will ever buy on the biggest purchase of your life. Because one bad window times a whole house, or one padded bid, costs more than the whole thing 10 times over. First link in the description, or scan the QR code on your screen and have it in a minute. Get it now, then come right back to me, because this last window is the one that leaks the most money of all. Number 1. The soaring, hard-to-reach fixed glass, the 2-story window wall in the great room, the high transoms up near the ceiling, the skylight over the stairwell that looks so good on the drawing. This sits at number 1 because it fails both jobs at maximum, at the very same time. Think it through with me for a second. You're paying to heat and cool a huge column of glass, 2 whole stories of it, and standard glass leaks heat straight out in winter and drinks it in all summer. That's job 1, failing on a grand and expensive scale, every month of the year. And job 2, nobody can ever clean it. Nobody can open it for a breeze on a nice evening. And the day one of those panes fogs up because a seal failed way up there out of reach, you cannot fix it yourself, not for love nor money. You are renting a lift or paying a man with a very tall ladder just to wipe a cobweb off a window in your own living room. It is the window that keeps billing you and locks you out of ever maintaining it yourself at the same time. You don't really own that window. You lease it from whoever you have to call every single time it needs a thing. And that skylight over the stairwell deserves its own word, because it's the same trap wearing a nicer hat. Up on the roof, in the weather, is the single worst place to put a piece of glass with a seal in it and then make it impossible to reach. When it eventually leaks, And roof glass does eventually leak. The water runs down inside your ceiling and shows up as a brown stain over your stairs. Now you're paying for the glass, the roofer, and the drywall all at once. For a window, you put in mostly to let a little more light down a hallway. And the honest exception, because even this one has a right version. So I'll be fair to it. A modest, reachable, fixed-picture window down at eye level, framing a real view you actually sit and look at. That's a lovely thing, and it's dead easy to keep clean. The mistake is buying height and drama. 2 full stories of glass you'll be paying a stranger to service for as long as you own the house. Now, I want to be careful right here, because it would be easy to walk away from all this thinking somebody set out to stick you with the wrong windows on purpose. Nobody did. There's no conspiracy anywhere in this. And you'll make better decisions if you believe me on that. The showroom sells you the view and the low sticker, because that's what makes people sign. The builder installs the standard grade unit because it's what passes code and keeps his bid competitive against the next builder's number down the road. The low E coating got skipped because nobody ever itemized it and asked the question out loud. And that 2-story glass wall got drawn onto the plan because glass walls sell houses to people walking through them. Every one of those people just did the normal thing that day. Your builder isn't a crook. He handed you a window that passes code and keeps his number low, and that is genuinely his job. Whether that window is cheap to own for 30 years and whether you can still work it in 15, nobody in that showroom ever asked those 2 questions. So we're asking them now, while it's still just a line on the plan and it costs you nothing at all to change it. There's an old rule I keep coming back to, and it fits windows better than almost anything. Spend your money where it's hidden and hard to change later. A paint color is cheap and it's easy to fix. On a rainy Saturday, a window is buried in the wall, and once it's in, it's in. That's exactly the kind of place you spend the extra now. Because the cost of getting it wrong isn't the window. It's 30 years of living with the window. And here's where every bit of this comes home. Get the 2 jobs right, and a window pays you back for decades, without a word. It seals up tight, so your heating bill stays livable even on a fixed income, when every month's number is a number that actually matters to you. And it opens with a lever or a crank you can still work with one hand, on a day your grip isn't what it once was, so you never once have to call somebody just to let a breeze into your own kitchen. Around 9 in 10 people past 65 say the very same thing. When you ask them, they want to stay in the home they've already got. And whether that turns out to be possible comes down to 100 small, unglamorous things nobody puts in a brochure, and a window you can seal, open, and clean yourself is quietly one of them. Nobody pictures their windows when they think about growing old at home. They probably should. So get the glass right, and you buy 2 things with the one decision: a heating bill you can live with, and a window you never have to call anybody to open. That's not 2 decisions, it's one good one. So tell me down in the comments. Go stand at your worst window right now, today, and really look at it. Is it a drafty single pane you can feel from clear across the room? One you've quietly stopped opening because it fights you every single time. Tell me which one it is and where it is in the house. I read every one of these. And here's the next one, because it's the surface you actually stand on all day, in every room of the house, and it is hiding its costs from you, just like these windows are. Floors. There are 5 I tell you to avoid at all costs, and one of them is a genuine fall waiting to happen in a house you meant to grow old in. That one's next, and it's waiting for you right now.